Hello there, this is Jenny at Designs with Paper. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I have a birthday card / gift card holder video for you today, so get comfy and let's get crafty. I have pulled out half of a sheet of cardstock and a couple of pieces of pattern paper, along with an edge die from my stash that I will be using to create this card. My first step is to pull out my scoreboard and create some score lines on my cardstock. This cardstock is 4 1/4 inches wide by 11 inches tall, and my first score line is going to be 1.5 inches from the left-hand edge. I'm going to score that and then move down and score the second score line at the 7-inch from the left. The first score line creates the pocket for your standard size gift card, and the second score line creates the front flap of your card. I am going to go ahead and fold my cardstock on my score lines and burnish them really well with the side of my bone folder. I need to make sure that it's not going to be flapping open as I create this card, because a lot of the paper cutting is done kind of on the fly, not measured ahead of time, just because I wasn't exactly sure how big they needed to be. So my plan is to stick this piece of daffodil pattern paper on the front flap of the card, and then have this kind of grid hanging out from the inside to create the rest of the front flap. I want to cut the grid paper with this kind of curved edge die. This is an edgelet die that I've had in my stash since, oh my heavens, it might be one of the first dies I purchased from Stampin' Up! It is an oldie. Many companies have similar dies, and I don't think there's punches that do the same pattern. I think the bigger question here isn't what die you're using, but whether or not you want to do something fun on that edge. You could use a scallop, you could leave it straight, it wouldn't matter at all. I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a fancy edge on this edge. So I have lined my paper up on my grid mat, and I have drawn in the middle of this die a line on it with a Sharpie where the center is, and I'm lining that up with the middle of my grid mat. And then I'm using the lines also to make sure that the sides of that die are along the same horizontal plane, and I'm taping them down with washi tape. And the washi tape does tear. It's a really thin washi tape, but no biggie. It pulls right off the front of my card, or right off the front of the paper. My next step is going to be to adhere this paper to the front flap of the card. So I have taken a little bit of washi tape and taped my gift card pocket shut, and I need to figure out how long this pattern paper needs to be. Originally, it was a 6x6 piece of paper, and all I have done is trimmed down the bottom edge just a little bit, like less than 1/4 inch or so from its very tallest point. So now I'm just kind of measuring and noticing that I can probably cut it, and which line on my grid I can cut it down to. That first line, I'm going to go ahead and stick that through my guillotine trimmer off camera there, just to my right-hand side, and trim that down and align it back up into my card base. And so now that I've aligned it, I can see that my front flap folds, and it's perfect. It creates that difference of that I cut off, or that I folded up to create the gift card pouch. So I'm going to take my ATG gun. I'm going to put the adhesive on the inside flap of my card. So I'm just going along the fold end, the open end, and both sides with my ATG gun so that I can line the card base up on my grid mat that I'm working on. And everything looks a little bit crooked. I think my camera is hanging kind of cockeyed. I got to fix that. Then I can put my pattern paper in and just fold the card front down on top of it. And then I'll just trim off the sides to make it even. So I can go ahead and pull out my guillotine trimmer and slide this paper right into my trimmer. And if I take that cardstock right up to the edge of the guide and trim down, it just trims a perfect edge. I am getting better at knowing where my blade hits with my guillotine trimmer, because I still have not bought blades for my Fiskars trimmer. I know, I am completely putting off the inevitable. So I had trimmed this pattern paper down, and as I'm aligning it, I realized I have trimmed it too far. So I went ahead and pulled out another piece of that paper. And this paper actually was a 12x12 paper pack that I cut into 6x6 pieces. I don't hardly ever use 12x12 paper anymore, but the pattern was small enough that I could use it on a card front easily. So I just trimmed them into 6x6" pieces and stuck it in with my 6x6" paper pads, and it's perfect. Okay, I am doing the same thing again. I have put some adhesive down on the front of the card, and then I decided I wanted these daffodils to hang down kind of over that pattern paper flap. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive down there as well. So fun fact I learned, okay, I am closer to 50 than 40. I turned 48 this year, and it just now clicked in my brain that the flower narcissus and the flower daffodil are the same flower. Like I have said before on this channel, I am not a gardener. I killed succulents from lack of water and lack of sunshine. But yeah, I am 48 years old and just learned that daffodils and narcissus are the same flower, or the same flower family. Yeah, I'm special. Okay, now that I have used my guillotine trimmer to go ahead and trim off the edges of that pattern paper, I need to create the pocket for my gift card. I'm going to be using some 1/4" score tape, and I'm just slightly off camera there, I apologize. I am going to put the tape just inside that flap, and then I will burnish it down with my bone folder and then pull off the backing. I was a little bit ahead of myself because I haven't stuck the white copy paper down to put a message on. Gratefully, the adhesive wasn't too stuck, and I was able to figure that out. I'm just using my little pokey tool to peel the backing paper off, and now I have the card nearly complete. You guys, this was a really fast card, even with me messing up with the measuring of the pattern paper. So here is a used up gift card I keep in my drawer for flattening things. And you can see it just is like perfect. It fits right in there perfectly. So now I'm realizing, oh dude, this is a yellow background. It's going to be kind of hard to write on. Plus it's a little bit blah with the front being all decorated. I decided to pull out a piece of my copy paper that I have trimmed down for a regular card. I'm trimming it just slightly smaller. I took it from 4 by 5 1/4 to like 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So it won't go all the way down inside that pocket. I don't need it to. It's not like I can write down there. And I just need to kind of lift up that flap. But because the adhesive is like 1/4" adhesive, it's coming into where I need to put that white panel to write on. So I'm just very carefully pulling up that gift card pocket flap and aligning my copy paper and closing that flap back up. And because I hadn't really pushed on that adhesive too much, it didn't damage the card. It didn't even damage the adhesive. I didn't have to put more adhesive on. All right, so in order to let the recipient know, or whoever this belongs to know that it is a birthday card, it needs a sentiment, right? I have this My Favorite Things Happy Birthday die. It's kind of a huge die, and I'm going to cut it out with black cardstock. This is kind of a heavyweight black cardstock scrapped from my stash. It was just happened to be big enough. I buy some really heavyweight cardstock off of Amazon for when I'm creating boxes for card sets, and this was an offcut. I am going to tape those letters into the negative with a piece of Post-it tape so that I can put adhesive on the back of them all at once and then just pick it up and adhere it to my card front where I want it to be. I will be using Tombow Mono glue. It has a small opening so I can get the glue on just the backing of the letters. I don't have to worry about it getting on top of the negative cutout space. And it looks like I can write backwards in super fast speed, but in reality I sped this up like 4 times normal speed. This is the only part of the card today that I did speed up, and it is not a very long video, like 12 minutes, right? So super quick card to make when you're in a pinch for a card. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay that down and peel off the Post-it tape. It will take a couple of letters with it, but because I still have that negative space in place, I can put that letter right back down where it belongs. There's probably an easier way to do this. I won't lie. I didn't think about it that long. I just kind of went with it, but there's probably an easier way to do that. Like if I had put double-sided adhesive on the back of the cardstock before I ran it through the die cut machine, that would have been easier. And yes, I just thought of that now while I was doing the voiceover. Okay, I'm going to take my pokey tool here and pick out all of those leftovers or the negative pieces that we don't need. And you can see that some of my letters haven't stuck down exactly. I can just push them back down. And if they still need, if they're still a little bit fidgety, I can add some more Tombow glue to the back of them, and it will be no problem. So now I have my sentiment on the card, and it's looking cool. The daffodils aren't too covered up, but I feel like the bottom edge is just a little bit blah, and the letters are a little bit blah. So I have pulled out my Wink of Stella clear glitter glue, and again, I've sped this up like Superman speed, and I'm going over all of the letters with the Wink of Stella. Now, it doesn't show up super great right here. It just doesn't show up great on video at all, but I do have some close-ups later. And I decided that the edge needed a little something. So I found a scrapped piece of pink cardstock that is pretty close to the pink in the pattern paper. And I'm just trimming off the slightest little piece. I'm going to put some score tape on the back of it. I have like a 1/8 inch score tape. Probably would have been easier if I had used liquid glue because it gives you a little bit more time to adjust. But, you know, liquid glue and we have a complicated relationship. And sometimes I just prefer to go for my dry adhesive. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that backing tape. Also, probably I should have removed half of it at a time, not the whole piece at a time to give me more working time. But whatever. It's a live and learn. You know, every card you make is a little bit of a live and learn. And then with a little bit of fidgeting, I did get that kind of wedged up underneath the letters because they were slightly hanging over. And voila, I can pull a pair of scissors up and just trim off those edges. And the card looks done. It looks complete. It looks pretty. And I know my friend that I am sending this to will love it, especially because it's going to have a fabulous gift card on the inside. Or maybe especially because it's a handmade card. Who knows? All right, so here are a couple of close-ups of that Wink of Stella glitter. It does shine really pretty in real life. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Bye. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel and watching my video. I have linked a couple other videos here for you to watch, as well as a subscribe button. If you have not done so already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. And if you know somebody who would like it, please feel free to share. Have a great day.